let me get to, let me pick this up first, I guess. Okay. Let me get to the first one. You got to decide who to trust. What I mean by that, you know that in the LDS church, we were taught not to trust the Bible. We were taught not to trust other churches and pastors. They're apostate. Those pastors are in it for the money. And then now we've come to this place where, in our experience, we've encountered perhaps some reasons why we don't trust the LDS church institutionally anymore. And we're going like, well, we kind of feel like, now where do we go? If we can't trust them, how can we trust another church? How can we trust another religious institution? How can we trust spiritual leadership? Because we felt, maybe some of us felt like we were lied to or just didn't get the whole truth. So it's hard to trust again after that experience. And so who do I trust? Where do I go? And so my encouragement, you have to figure that out, but my encouragement for you is that instead of many people just become completely cynical, completely skeptical, say, I'm never going to trust anybody again, there are voices, there are persons who are worthy of trust. The Bible is worthy of trust. There's a lot of reasons why we can trust the Bible. God is worthy of trust. And sometimes I've heard people say, man, I can't even trust myself because I was deceived for so long. How do I know that I can even make a great decision about truth? I want to encourage you that you can learn to trust your own discernment using the Bible. And so it's not a losing proposition. Trust is something that can be recovered, and it's one of the very first things that you've got to deal with to find your way out. So here's this Bible verse. It says, dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. You must test them to see if the Spirit they have comes from God. For there are many false prophets in the world. So instead of just falling into skepticism, the Bible calls us to discernment. There's a difference. Skepticism says nothing, I can't trust anything and nothing's true. But discernment says there are some things that are true, there are some things I can trust, and there's realistically some things I can't trust that I cannot. So developing the faculty of discernment helps me to know who I can trust and who I can't. So it helps me to come to that place to say, well, I've thought this through. And for us, in a biblical worldview, that discernment comes from understanding and studying the Bible and prayerfully applying the Bible in our lives. The more we understand what God has said, and the verses that follow that verse we just quoted, if you were to read on in your Bible in 1 John 4, it gives a truth test to decide who these false prophets are and who these voices are. It says, well, compare this doctrine and see if they teach a certain way, then they're not. If they teach a certain way, then they are. And so as we learn the truth, we can develop trust. Again, we can learn to trust the right people. And ultimately, the issue is we want to transfer the trust that we once gave to an ecclesial institution. We want to transfer that trust to God and to his trustworthy word, because that's how we know him in this world. So if you are on your journey and you start checking out churches and you find a Christian church that might have all the right doctrine, but they ask you to trust them in some ultimate kind of way, like you were asked to trust before, that's a church I would run away from. If you have authoritarian leaders who say that I said it, so that's the end of it, that's not a healthy church. That's not going to help you learn to develop the faculty of discernment for yourself if someone asks you to just give your discernment to them. Okay, so that's not trust. So the first thing is, you're going to be stuck wandering around if you can't figure out who to trust and begin to spend your trust appropriately, the right people in the right way. Now, I'm not telling you that comes all at once. It might be gradual. People need to prove trustworthy, okay? Jesus never told us to trust anybody by blind faith. Okay, we were told that before, but Jesus never tells us. In fact, Jesus had it was a pretty honest conversation about how he did not trust everybody, okay? So he never tells us to just trust anybody. Trust is not a command. Trust is earned. But people can earn trust as they prove trustworthy, then put your trust in them, never ultimately, always trusting in God first, but trusting in that person subject to your trust in God. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to learn how to trust.